I have a very interesting call here to be working with ELCIC. With part of my time, I'm working and serving in a congregation that's here in Lima, in the district of San Juan de Lurigancho. I'm working in a parish that has roughly 20 members. The average attendance is about 17, probably on a Sunday. The church itself, the building itself is very simple. Concrete slab with some plywood walls, and we're currently in a building project to construct the new church, which is part of my work out there. So I'm serving as the pastor in that congregation for about part of my time. The other part of my time I'm working with music ministry, which involves teaching. I'm teaching several instruments, actually. I'm teaching voice and piano and have learned guitar, and I'm teaching guitar and teaching a local indigenous instrument, the zampoña, and also teaching some music theory, how to read the notes for many of these kids and adults and youth who are in the classes. For many of them, it's their first time ever taking any kind of music lesson or learning how to read any notes. And it's something that we take for granted in our culture, I think. But so this is my call. I'm also, in the music part of things, I'm also working with many of the pastors and with some of the seminary students to be teaching liturgy, how to do the liturgy, what the parts of the liturgy mean. And as part of my overall call from the ELCIC, I'm working to support the work of ELCIC. That means attending monthly ministerial meetings, working with the president to support him, support the work, and so the communication piece back to Canada and the information about what's happening here is another important part of my work. And I'm also working with a group in Marquez called Círculo de Cera, which means Sarah Circle. They're a group of women, 4 women, who do all kinds of handicrafts. Many people back in Canada would know them for the work that they do with alpaca wool. It's very popular here in Peru, of course. And so this group works to make stoles and sweaters and bags and all kinds of things. And so I'm trying to help coordinate efforts to be selling some of these goods back in Canada too. So officially I have the 2 roles, but of course there are many other aspects to the work here. Most of my work is centered in Lima. Lima is on the coast, on the Pacific Ocean, and it's a very, very large city of about, well, officially I think the population is 9 million people, but I think I've heard that there's up to 11 or 12 million people. It's made up of 23 or 24 districts, which hold a huge population, actually, for the size of the city. But my work is centralized here more because this is where I'm living, and also because there are many more congregations here than in the other outlying provinces of the country. But I have also been in this past year to Cusco twice, and I've been up to Huacho twice to be teaching music there. I've been there for about 4 or 5 days each trip, basically for about a week to be working in those areas. And there are also churches in the provinces in Trujillo and Huancayo and in Iquitos, and I'll be working with those congregations over the next 2.5 years that I have remaining in my contract. And I feel that this music ministry is really important here because there has not been any kind of musical education or any kind of leadership in terms of how to lead liturgy well, in terms of how to sing well. And culturally, I feel that it's music comes from a very deep spiritual place, and so people sing with all of their hearts. And I think that this is wonderful, and how to do this better together will help our worship and help our praise. And I think personally it also helps our lamenting. It helps our times of sorrow too. There's certainly much hymnody that includes songs of lament and songs of sadness, songs of doubt, and we pour all of our emotions and all of our expressions and can express that even better in music than we can in just plain words. Another part of my role working as the ELCIC missionary here is to host and welcome guests. For instance, last July we had visitors from the Texas-Louisiana Gulf Coast Synod, which is one of our companion synods. Also, I've been working with some mission groups who come to help and work in different congregations and in different types of missions throughout Peru. Part of this role also is working with the companion synod and with the companion congregations. My church, San Juan Camino de Esperanza, has 2 companion congregations. As it happens, both of them are named Grace Lutheran Church, which is kind of neat. But one of these churches is in Conroe, Texas, and the other is in Victoria, BC. ELF itself, the National Lutheran Church, has 3 companion synods: the Texas, Louisiana Gulf Coast, La Crosse, Wisconsin, and British Columbia. Part of my role in working with the companion relationships is to help coordinate visits and mission experiences, to welcome guests, translate and interpret both language and the culture. I've been working to help prepare and orient and debrief groups and their experiences, both on the congregational level as well as those who come to visit other congregations and see the work within ELF.